Welcome, everybody, to the Mint City Soccer Show. I am your co-host, Matt Swift. With me, David Gustler, Corey Ensko, episode 100. Guys,
we made it.
How we doing?
Good. I never thought we would make it this far, Swift. So I'm surprised Corey hasn't kicked us off yet.
Based on where we started, I definitely didn't think we'd ever make it this far. So cheers to this.
We've come a long way from a Salute sharing one microphone and Magic the Gathering playing next door to us at the table.
Or lawnmower noises in the backyard. I mean, it's been a real journey.
That's right.
You gotta love it.
So, for those who don't know, Johnny Wakefield and Corey Ensko here started Mint City Soccer Show back in the day. They got to episode 12 and decided to invite David Gustler and I on the show to co-host. And then promptly during that podcast was like, yeah, you guys do it from here on out, and kind of pawned it off on us. So we took it from there. But Corey's been here from the very beginning in the background doing a lot of the producing and stuff like that. So Corey, we appreciate you. And Corey has done all 100 episodes. So congrats to you, Corey.
Yeah, I do. Thank you. And thank y'all for taking it on, even though we didn't really give you a choice. But I do have to say that when you put it out like that we've done 100 episodes and me and Johnny made it to 12, that feels really pathetic. I'm not going to lie to you. We were like, nah, 12, we're out.
You guys did kind of have two things go against you. There was a team delay and then COVID kind of derailed you completely. So
yeah,
give yourself some credit for making it to 12 episodes at least.
That's true. Well, we were doing
11 if you count
actually
the teaser.
A team. Yeah, we were doing this before there was even a team announced. So this was all in a hope and a prayer. So it worked out pretty well. So but thank y'all for taking it on and letting us corner you at Salute and basically make you do this and take it to way greater heights than we ever had it at. So I appreciate it. Cheers.
Swift, I have to cheers, buddy. So I have to just reminisce for a second because I remember that first episode. I bought this Yeti microphone, not having any idea how to use it. I'm sitting here in Salute, scared to death. I'm gonna say something really stupid like Ajax all over again. And here I am, 100 episodes later. I'm still here. You guys haven't fired me yet, so I appreciate you guys bearing with me at that point.
Well, we're still using the Yeti mics. We're still not very good at it, and we still mispronounce words. So maybe by the 200th episode, we'll figure this whole thing out. But guys, we're not alone tonight. We have two friends that are co-hosting with us. Let me introduce you to Vaughn Pollman and Russell Varner.
Episode Hooray!
Nice. And there's I thought Russell had gotten stuck in that one position like that. That would have been awesome.
My master plan worked perfectly.
But you guys have been on a few shows with us. So for the 100th episode, we wanted to bring you guys back and celebrate a little bit. And tonight is all about that. We're going to have fun. We're not going to talk about a lot of like super serious stuff like we typically do. We're not going to talk about coaching, strategy, subs, none of that. We're going to have fun. But we definitely want to bring you guys on because, like I said, you've shared a lot of the episodes with us and been along for this journey. So just want to say welcome, Russell and Vaughn.
I have to say, you guys also made us a lot more legitimate by joining our show as well. So you carried us very early on as well, Russell and Vaughn. So thank you.
Now I know you are patronizing. Thank you. I will gladly take it. I'm honored and dumbfounded that y'all keep inviting me back, but I'm not going to complain for a second. Pleasure to be here for me at least. I assume it is for you as well, Vaughn.
Yeah, no, we just had to jump on to add to the catalog of jerseys here.
That's right. That's right. And Vaughn, you're just back from a trip overseas, right?
I jet set off to Ireland. So yeah, it also was tough having to catch up on the games that I missed because they were on at like 2:30 in the morning. So yes, back, happy to be back, and yeah. Very excited to celebrate here with episode 100 with everybody.
Vaughn, you're not a real sicko, sir, for watching Charlotte FC at 2:30 in the morning. So how dare you, sir?
Do they have the Mint City Soccer Show in Ireland? Is it?
I mean, the podcast still was on the air, so yeah, you didn't get blocked in Ireland, so you're good.
That's good.
Yet.
We walked in a couple of places, so just want to make sure. But guys, I wanted to get everybody together because I want to ask you guys some questions. And again, this is going to be kind of a celebration of getting to 100 episodes, and also kind of a celebration of Charlotte FC and the journey we've been on. So I'd like to start with Corey real quick. Corey, this is our second season. And you've been doing this show from the very beginning. What are some of the fun things that you've seen this season, or in general, that you want to highlight or talk about, or what's been fun for you besides working with me and David? Of
you know
course.
what's really fun for me is talking about substitutions and coaching. So I'll take some time to. No, I'm just messing with you. No, I mean, I would say, I don't know if this is what you're asking me for, but what's been fun about being part of this show as far as part of the journey is some of the cool things we gotten to do. And one that jumps out to me was doing the draft party and getting to do that recording and live show there down in the field suites and being part of that. I mean, right. I didn't get to announce a pick there or anything, but I'm not that cool, but it was just really neat to be kind of a part of that, and how open the team has been to doing stuff with us and allowing us to be at events and being part of things they're doing and giving us this really cool access, in addition to some of the interviews and stuff we've done beyond that. But the team has been really great about, partnering with us and giving us some access, and giving us some really cool experiences. So yeah, being there at the draft party, getting to talk to the front office a little bit, kind of being able to experience that and record there was a really cool time.
Yeah. Vaughn, you joined us for that episode, I believe.
I was there. Yes.
Yeah.
That was a very unique experience. It was awesome getting to do it live, where we recorded before the picks and live reactions right after the picks, and being put on the spot there. And then I think we had Bobby and Nick Kelly on there too. So getting the immediate reactions was something that it was like, no, we're building something special here. Like the team is creating a really special and unique opportunity for the fan experience, and that we got to be there from the jump, and do that through this podcast. Definitely something that I know I cherish.
Is there anything else maybe this season, Vaughn, that has stood out to you? It could be part of the show or just your experience this season with Charlotte FC.
Oh man, I think honestly, it's part of it is the community growing, and not only in like numbers, but also in like, I don't know if the right term is maturity, but like our knowledge base, right? Our shared collective knowledge base is at a different spot than it used to be. And I think that's because of us having these types of conversations and getting to know the team, the players, the people around the club so intimately. And so, yeah, to me, that's really fun. Like that's one of the things that energizes me, and something that I think has through the second year really blossomed.
Yeah. Russell, let's kick it over to you. What do you got for us?
Once again, just like last show, Vaughn did a great job of stealing my answer. Seeing really from the start, just seeing how quickly and how well the entire city's jumped on to the Charlotte FC bandwagon and really embraced the team, embraced the new traditions and everything. That still blows me away to this day. I didn't get to be a part of the draft or anything, so I don't have anything cool like that to say. But it was great that I got to go to your place, Swift, just before the MLS's back tournament, and got to have enough whiskey in me to say, hey, I think the Colorado Rapids could win the West, in a drunken or like a buzz, just like, that will never happen, to the point that I actually forgot about it. And when we brought it up on the next show, you guys had to remind me that I actually said that.
That's how we like to roll here, man. We'll have to do that again. We'll have to. I know everybody kind of
Yes,
lives
please.
a little further now, but yeah, we'll have to do another episode where we all get together and get Russell super drunk and see what he says. All right, so Gustler, what about you? What about this season or last couple episodes, or what do you got for us?
So there's a lot. I just want to say a few things, just reminiscing from all of the Brady bunch here sharing their ideas. So the live draft thing was a lot of fun, but Vaughn, I don't know if you remember or not, the lights and the music just went down and started blaring at one point when we're trying to record. So we had to stop recording and restart all over again. And how far we've come, because I was recording our video from my phone on a tripod and trying to sync the video with the audio. So poor Corey producing is like trying to get, we used to snap before each episode to get the sync ready for all three of us. So
That's right.
it's amazing how far we've come for one. For me, I mean, the access to fans, the interaction we have online with folks, the fact that people want to listen to us for 100 episodes is mind-boggling to me. That, I mean, self-deprecating here a little bit, I never thought anyone would want to ever hear me talk about soccer, let alone talk really. And here we are, right? So, so it's been a blast. A lot of, the super draft was great. The kickoff show we did at Lenny Boy before the very first game was a lot of fun. The episodes at Salute, while crazy and loud they were, and audio was not super great, it was a lot of fun to do those. Man, it's been a blast overall, and we got to interview players like Sergio and Mackenzie Gaines, and the fact we had Zoran come on our show was mind blowing a little bit. Shawn did it, Nick Kelly did it. We had a president of the organization, the club, join us before we even started, which was awesome. So it's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate all of the faces here and all the listeners being a part of it this entire journey.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and to kind of David and your point too, Corey, having access to the team very early on and the front office folks, and I've seen it more and more now, players and front office people getting on other shows. And I think that's super important. And kind of to Vaughn's point, there's all these different shows now. And the thing is, they've been around for a little bit. Typically what you see is people start shows and then they kind of drop off, right? But you're seeing steady content coming out from all types of folks. And I think it's funny because you could definitely tell our listeners listen to the other shows too. So it's really cool that they don't get tired of hearing about it. They want to hop around to all these different shows and listen to other people. And it's really, really awesome to see. And we have a lot of great content providers in this area. So it's just been awesome. And I'm hoping that we could do a lot more coming soon. I don't want to announce something too soon, but I think we have something cool coming up in the next couple of weeks that I think we're going to get to do. And I'll try to get this band right here to do it with us. So
real quick, Swift. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention this favorite moment of the show. It was our very first show, I think, with you and me, Johnny and Corey, and Mr. Wakefield, who is not here with us tonight because he's in another country, kind of like Vaughn was recently. He mentioned something about a shower beer and shower oranges, and he has still yet to this day come back to have that conversation. So if you guys ever see Johnny online, make sure you ask him about a shower orange, and he'll love to explain.
Yeah, I still don't know what any of that means. I mean, I've had a shower beer, but never an orange in the shower, which I'm guessing that's not code for something dirty in the shower.
No,
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. He's not here to defend himself, so who knows what he's doing in the shower with oranges. So there you go. This is a rated X episode 100 After Dark.
This is why we can't get Johnny back on the show, though. Is what's happening right now. He's like, awesome. Nah, I'm not joining that.
That's perfect. We can just talk about him, and he can never come in and defend himself ever again. So it's fine.
Johnny just entered the chat. No.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he actually did.
He's writing in all caps. So guys, too, everybody that's listening, please feel free to drop questions for us. Again, let's try to keep it super positive and fun. The funnier, the better. Ask questions specifically of Russell, Vaughn, David, Corey, myself, whoever. We're going to have 2 special guests on later, and I'm sure you'll have questions for them. But again, we want to just celebrate tonight. We talk every week about, being critical of certain things. So we just want to have fun tonight. So, but drop those questions below, and then we'll pull up what we can and answer them. Corey, I don't know if we have any ready to go right now, and I could talk slower if you need more time.
We have the pre-asked questions ready whenever you're ready. So if you want to dive into those, go for it.
Yeah, let's do it.
You want me to just show them to you, or do you want to pick one to read?
Now you throw them.
Am I driving this? All right.
Well, I just have to say, we're doing it live. Yeah, I'm usually the one that asks the questions here. Swift, you want me to take over?
Yeah,
and ask the questions?
Yeah. Do that. Hey,
There we
episode
go.
100, and we still don't know what we're doing.
So, first question here comes from Kate. So I have to ask this for those. I think everyone on this show is in Slack in some kind of form or fashion for Mid City Collective. So
say her last name, David.
I didn't type it out, so I'm sorry. I can't pull it up. So
Uh-huh.
I put Kate K. So that's how I'm going to go with that.
Sure.
So she wants to know, what is your favorite MCC Slack channel? So I will go ahead and answer this first for Swift. I love every single Slack channel that Matt Swift has to be a part of, because he hates how many there are. And so I will love to make them. So if you're in Slack, add Matt Swift to every single channel right now. So over to you, Swift.
So I use Slack for Mint City and work and other things. And I love Slack, don't get me wrong, but I hate it because what happens is people make 500 channels. So I've been the communications director for Mint City for quite a while, and now I'm the VP. So I've been doing this since 2019. What happens is that we're trying to get information out to our members, or we're trying to get a poll or ask questions, and I'm trying to get engagement. And then, not a lot of people are engaging. We're trying to get information, but what is happening simultaneously is in the college football channel that we have in Slack, there's 100 people going back and forth about, will Purdue cover the spread against Ohio State? And I'm like, can you guys focus on what we're trying to, it's the worst. And we have a Star Wars channel. So if you want to join Mint City.
Hold on. Don't throw shade at the Star Wars channel. Okay.
I'm just saying we literally have a channel for everything. And sometimes it drives me nuts because people will add me to the channel. And I'm like, I do not want to be here. I'm trying to focus on certain things, but we literally we have a channel for trains.
And it's called Choo Choo Bagoo. Just so you guys know. And it's all about trains, because I made a channel about trains. So thank you, Swift. So Russell, how about you, man? What is your favorite Slack channel in Mint City Collective?
I found the one that I always go, that I always check first if I see new notifications, is to help satisfy my new favorite unhealthy obsession, which is cards. So cards and stickers. Every single time, I love seeing if somebody's selling or trading something or whatever cool card someone else has now. It obviously doesn't have as great a name as Choo Choo Magoo, because who could possibly compete with that? But it's great to find people like me who have gone way too into card collecting. And yeah, that one's my favorite. Shout out though to Marvel and DC, and to the 3 other members of the MLB The Show channel when that was still a thing.
We literally have a channel for everything.
I just love that I'm finding out about new channels right now. There's a card channel. I had no idea. So it's amazing. And I don't know. I didn't know. When you said stickers, I'm like, wait a second. Is there a sticker channel? If not, we need to make one.
And the whole time, and the whole time, I'm trying to figure out who's going to be at the tailgate to set up. And then we got people talking about cards and Marvel over there. So
it's wonderful. It's wonderful. So Vaughn, how about you?
Yeah.
What's your favorite channel, Vaughn?
First of all, after seeing this question, I almost made a favorite channel just so that I could say the favorite channel. Held back from doing that. I also think it's absolutely hilarious, just random. There's all of these subcategories and there's still room for random. And stuff still falls into random. And it just cracks me up that I'm like, random, all of this is random.
That's true.
And then some random stuff ends up in general, and you're like, I don't know. I love it. It's just
People get mad too. They're
pure
like,
chaos.
"Hey, don't put this in general. You need to move this to the card channel or the
Yeah,
train
I
channel."
I got called out on that by Matt Chantry because I posted a link to that rumor for, I think, the coach that was being linked to Charlotte FC, but not really. I put that in general, and Chantry messaged me and goes, "It should be in the it should be in the players channel, Gustler." I'm like, wait a second. I'm sorry, I'm not talking about coaches in the players channel, but Gustler's banned from cards and stickers. Oh, okay. Thanks, Franco. There, I appreciate it. We need a stat channel, by the way, Vaughn, just so you know, for you to post stats. It'd be great.
Or for Ryan.
I was about to say to have Vaughn and Ryan go back and forth.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am 100% down for this. That will be my new favorite channel the second that is created.
Yep.
You're welcome, Swift. So, Corey, I know you're super active in Slack, and you're in there all the day, 24 hours a day. So, what is your favorite Slack channel?
I literally only open the Slack because you use it to communicate about this show. So I open it like the 10 minutes before this show starts and 10 minutes after it's over, then I close it forever again. But when I was more active in it, the reason maybe I'm not so active anymore is because I have 2 young children. So I always like Junior Mints for all the parents.
Right.
The parents Slack channel is a good one. And then of course beer. Those if I do come and check, I literally check those 2, and then I check our DMs to see what stuff you sent me. Then I shut it back down, and it's good for my mental health. It's a good place to be.
This is what I'm talking about. You have Corey who's not checking anything, and then you have everybody else that's on these other channels. Nothing ever gets done. There we go.
It's probably one of the best questions already. So thanks, Kate,
great.
for
It is
posting
very
that.
Yeah.
So I'll jump into one more question, and we'll pull some up from the chat here because we got some comments and questions here in the chat. Let's see here. Paul, so Mr. Drummer himself, Paul says, what's changed the most since episode 1? So it could be anything specific to or specific about the actual podcast. So Swift, I'll let you go first, and then Corey, and then I'll share as well.
I think doing it on this platform, that has changed instead of how we used to do it. I think we've, the soccer and coffee we've introduced, I think has been very, very cool and fun. But I'm going to have to kick this one over to Corey because he's been here from the very beginning. So I'd love to hear his thoughts on where this has gone. To hell in a handbasket, but where do you think it's gone, Corey?
Well, that's probably going to be a dumb answer, but the biggest difference I would say, or what's changed most, is that we actually have a team on the field to talk about. Like, we literally did so many episodes with no on-field team to discuss, and we discussed a lot of really random stuff because of that. One of my favorite episodes to go back to is when we did the before the team branding was announced. And we talked to 2 potential mascots, what was it, Tommy the Townie or something the Townie, and Gary the Glider.
Gary the Glider and Tommy the Townie. Yep, that's exactly right. Yep.
That's the kind of insane content that me and Johnny were putting out because it was a pandemic and we had no team to talk about. This is what we did. And this is why we were like 12 episodes in. Yeah, someone else needs to take this over. So
I love it.
We've hit a wall. So that to me is probably the most the thing that's changed the most is actually having some on-field action to discuss. In addition to the things you mentioned, you picked a couple good things, Matt, too, as well as the platform and honestly the host. I mean, I think my more sincere answer is bringing you and David on against your will. I think y'all have brought such a really thoughtful and knowledgeable take to this team and what's been going on around it and the connections you've been able to make to bring in good guests and also bringing people like Vaughn and Russell. Like you really took this to a different level as far as professionalism and just quality for what we were producing and putting out there. And I think that was we made the right calls. We were driving to Salud in my car and scheming about how we were going to hand this off to you at Salud. So it was the right call and it all worked out. And I appreciate what y'all have done to take it from where we did.
I just have to say that is all Matt Swift with the professionalism and preparedness. I'm over here still saying like Ajax and things like that. So that is all Swift there.
We're in bad shape if I'm the professional.
So I have to say, so on top of all that, what you said, Corey, I have to reminisce about how we used to record these episodes. So especially if we were doing it virtually or something like that, we would jump on Zoom. So I made a Zoom account for the show, and we would jump on Zoom. We would open our own like Audacity kind of recording platform, and we would record audio on our own side while also streaming video to each other through Zoom. And we would snap and be like, all right, ready on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. And then that would be our signal for Corey to take 3 audio files over Zoom and sync them together. So it would take literally like hours for Corey to make the show compared to now.
And I have to say, y'all gave me so much crap for the snap, like that I was just making something up. Like it was a very legitimate thing I needed y'all to do so I could line up the spike in the audio. Y'all just thought I was messing with you. For like weeks, you're like, this isn't a real thing.
Well, and I didn't know how to snap, so then I would do like a double or triple snap and be like, pick one of them.
You didn't know like the timing of the snap, or you just physically couldn't like.
No, I would like snap, but then like I wasn't sure if it like took or like did I actually snap, and then I'd do a second snap, and I'm like, damn it, that's gonna be like 2 seconds too late for him. That means nothing now.
And there were definitely
1, 2, 3
times.
Snap, or is it go snap? Like what?
There are definitely times where like the snaps were really coordinated, or like you do 2 hands, so like you get like one of these, which is not helpful either. There's a lot of lining up happening on the back end, but there's all a method behind the madness. Don't worry.
Yeah, and definitely recording this in a loud setting and everybody's trying to huddle around the mic. We did one at Lenny Boy, or we've done a couple at Lenny Boy, and it was hard not to get a ton of background noise, and we're all like huddled around mics and stuff like that. So, some
of my favorite episodes to edit.
Yeah.
But my dog in the background barking randomly, that all fun stuff too. So
it happens. I think we have a very special guest that's about to join us, guys. So I want to introduce. This is his 3rd appearance on the show. Let me bring up the Chief Fan Officer, Shawn McIntosh. Look at that.
Snaps.
What an intro.
Look how professional we've become after 100 episodes there, Swift.
That's right.
Really
now we can snap and bring people off and on. Look at that. So, Shawn, thank you for joining the show. We're reminiscing about 100 episodes, and it's funny. So, Gustler and I took the podcast over from Johnny and Corey at episode 12. We were co-host, and as Corey has already told everybody, he kind of made us do the podcast. So our first episode was actually episode 13, where it was just David and I and Corey doing the producing. During that episode, we had Nick Kelly on the show. And on that show, he introduced and said that we're going to have a chief fan officer. And little did I know who that was going to be. And now we have Shawn. Shawn, welcome back to the show. How are things going? I like the beard. It's looking good.
Thank you. It's going great. Congrats on episode 100. I remember this is 2 years ago now, my first week on the gig. One of my first media appearances was with you and Gustler on this show, and here we are 2 years later, and who'd have thunk it? You guys are still going strong. So no, it's been awesome. It's been cool to see you guys do such a great job keeping it fair and balanced, and you always have great guests, and it's an honor to be on here to celebrate with you guys.
I appreciate it. And Vaughn and Russell, please feel free to ask Shawn questions. But like I said, everybody, we're going to keep it fun and light. Drop your comments and questions for Shawn here. But Shawn, we've been reminiscing on, this season, last season, just in general. What are some of the maybe highlights of this season so far for you?
Well, hopefully we have some highlights, the biggest of highlights to come. here this week. I mean, that's the hope, right? I think, it's no shock to anybody. This season's been full of ups and downs, as as a season can be. I mean, starts off in incredibly low fashion with a tragedy, and it's been pretty incredible to just see how the guys have bounced back to form and to really put all of that, not that it's behind them, and Anton will never be far from this club and the hearts of the players, but just to be in a position where they're so focused and there's such a positivity around the club right now, it's pretty incredible. So, I mean, man, if you're pinpointing like one particular highlight, it's going to be tough. Just thinking about this season, it really has been a roller coaster. Like so many ebbs and flows, ups and downs. I am as excited and as nervous about any two matches as I have been. Honestly, it's awesome to be in a position where these games matter so much at the very end of the season, and I've got those butterflies that you get before a really big, important game. So yeah, I'm excited for Wednesday to start it off.
So Swift, I got to add something here real quick. So before we get to the questions, and Vaughn and Russell has some stuff too, hopefully. So Shawn, the very first time we met was at Salute, and we were doing that show, and Corey and Swift decided to play a joke on me, and they wanted me to pronounce who your favorite club was, and I cannot remember how I said it, but Lazio is your club, correct? Is that the way to say it? Am I doing it correctly now?
I sure hope you know how to say it.
Especially
tables.
Yeah,
because Gustler has picked up, a club of his own to root for now, and go ahead, announce it to the world. Who do you follow now?
So I'm a Lazio proud member here, sir. So I've got 2 kits now and a hat. So I am all about it. I listen to a little podcast that talks about Lazio after each game here too. So, but I think Russell has something to say about our Lazio fandom here, Shawn.
I was going to say,
efforts here are pretty strong.
I was trying to figure out the smoothest way to just disappear off screen, but Shawn, I was going to change into this when you came on, just for the occasion. It's an AC Milan jersey for all the audio people. I keep forgetting that this is also an audio thing sometimes. But yeah, I've been an AC Milan fan for years now before here. And Shawn, I don't know if you remember, first time we talked was walking into the first game, the DC United game. And I was just happy to talk to someone else who was actually a Calcio fan, a Serie A fan, because everyone was always EPL. It was always in English or Real Madrid or Barcelona. It was never someone else to talk Italian soccer with. And that's why I was so excited to be able to know that you're the chief fan officer, but also if I wanted to be able to just talk Serie A, I could just hit you up at any time.
Well, honestly, it's just in terms of my role here with the club and just being a part of a soccer club. That's honestly the best thing about it. For me, it's connecting with fans. It's the globality of the sport and how you can find people who care about clubs that you don't think that there's other fans of, and just to be able to build a community, it really is special. I try and when I'm at our matches, like I'll obviously peek around and see the kits that people are wearing, and I'll usually like post a photo when I find the oddball wearing a random Serie A team, and I'll go up to them and talk to them and have a conversation. And what's really cool is I have a guy. So shout out to the gentleman that runs the North Insider account on Instagram and Twitter. But he's actually I say kid, I don't know how old he is, but he's a guy from Rome, big Lazio fan, who's also a Charlotte FC fan. and he runs an MLS focused account from Rome, has made Charlotte FC his favorite club. And that's the stuff for me that's so cool. It's so awesome. You know, you got a random kid who's a Lazio fan, born and bred in Rome, who's now a big Charlotte FC fan. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And for people that don't know, Shawn, you do host your own podcast, I believe, with Caleb. Is that who you? I don't listen to it because I'm not going to listen to a Lazio podcast. But anyway, but no, you do a show with Caleb, and we love Caleb too. We need to get him on the show too. But how long have you been? Is that a new show that did you just start that?
So, no, it's a podcast I've been doing for a couple years now, and then took a little bit of a hiatus just with this role being, you know, so incredibly busy as we got this club up, and then the person I was co-hosting with, you know, took on some new roles, and it just got really busy for one person to just host a show by himself. And then, and Caleb, you know, started just kind of becoming a little bit more enamored with Lazio and Serie A, and decided to join the ride. And you know, when I was looking for a co-host, he was somebody that made a lot of sense, that wanted to do it. And so we've been having a lot of fun, you know, running the podcast and getting to just kick back, be fans, and you know, get not worry about what's being said, and try and take a pretty thoughtful approach to it. And it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, check it out if you're interested in Serie A or Calcio or Lazio. It's Lazio world.
Vaughn, do you have a Serie A team at all that you follow?
A little bit. I started watching Venezia with when Gianluca Busio went there, and then the wheels fell off. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't have
are still great though, so they have that going for them.
Yeah, I've got a couple actually.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 3 Venezia kits and counting.
They do a great job.
So great, you know, piece of stylish fabric that they manufacture over there.
You guys notice that anyone who comes in contact with Shawn, if they don't have a club, they all of a sudden start becoming Lazio fans, right?
He's recruited quite. He got Donnie.
I was perfectly content. Gustler said he wanted to be a Fiorentina fan. I was like, great, man. Love having somebody that supports Serie A, and here we are. He decides, you know, our kits are a little bit sexier, and you know, he sees all the fun everybody else is having. So he was like, I think I want to join you guys and follow Lazio.
And then I join, and we lose a few games in a row.
Now we're yeah.
Yeah, Fiorentina, that'd be a tough team to follow. I kind of like I like that they're purple and different.
I like their colors. Yeah.
That's a tough team to follow for sure.
So
I can't imagine Gustler trying to pronounce any name from
no.
It would be wonderful.
Christian Pulisic. There you go. I win. See? There you go. So there is a question here, Swift, from the chat here real quick before you jump in here. So gotta show this. This is from the Westwood Tea Gang here, Shawn. So he says, if we could sign any current Lazio player for Charlotte, who would you want that to be and why?
Man, so I saw here the tweet or the question, and I think it's who should it be, not who I want it to be. A little bit different, because if I'm just putting on my fanboy, would love to see this player here just to be in and around the club. I mean, one of my top 5 favorite players of all time is Ciro Immobile, striker for Lazio. You know, pacing to become a top 5 all-time leading goal scorer in Serie A history. So, you know, but he's getting up there in age. I think he's 34 right now. You know, he's coming off of a season of injuries, slowing down a little bit. So I don't know. I mean, he's still got quality for sure. That would probably be, you know, what my heart would want. I think he's a player, though, that has to, not that he has to play in a particular system, but he needs a really strong, he's, you know, him in his best. He's got a really strong attacking number 10 type that just understands the runs that Cheeto makes. And he makes runs that, I mean, he's playing off the shoulder of defenders, and it's all about timing. And so, you know, I don't know that he would fit our system necessarily, but he is playing in a 4-3-3 and he's had success in that, even though it's not his ideal system. Yeah. So, if there's any other player, I mean, a player that left who I think was the best midfielder in Serie A the past few years, who's now playing in Saudi Arabia, is Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, who would be incredible in this league. It's a physical league, and he is a very physical player that's got all the technical abilities in the world in the midfield. And I mean, he's a great box to box. He is a player that attacks space in the box, scores a ton of goals. So, he's no longer a Lazio player, but he is a player that I would love to see in Major League Soccer one day. So he'd be my pick.
There you go. We'll
And
take it.
he's Serbian, and we've got a Serbian sporting director. So, just throwing it out there.
Let me ask you this, Shawn, before we go to any other questions. I want to talk about the new headquarters and where you now have an office. I was fortunate enough to come to the open house the other night, but I want to ask you, you guys moved from uptown to this beautiful space. Why is it important for you guys to have this headquarters, and how have you felt about it? I got to visit. It's amazing, but I'd like to hear from you. Like, what's your thoughts on it, and why is it important?
Well, you asked the question about highlights of this year. I mean, that's certainly up there. What an absolutely incredible space to be in. I mean, personally, just walking into that space, it's important to love where you work and the aesthetics, the surroundings, the physical office space in which you are walking into. All of that matters, right? It matters for you mentally, how you feel, right? There's an old saying just about, wearing really great football kits. It's look good, feel good, right? Play good. It's no different than being in an office space that is beautiful, and you can tell that there was thoughtfulness in the way that they put everything together. So right off the bat, it's an absolute joy to walk into that amazing building every single day. It's got everything that you need. It's got everything for our staff to be in a position to be successful, to feel good about where they work. The technology is incredible, all the resources in the world to do our jobs. Yeah. I think the other piece to it is that makes it special is that we've got our entire sporting side, technical team, from first team to MLS Next Pro to our academy, all the way through, and then our business side, all under one roof. And that's important. That was important to us, at least, because we're one club and we're all working for the same things. We want to be successful from the sporting side to the business side, and we want to build a club that this community can be really proud of. And being under one roof, again, matters. You see your coworkers, your players, right? Swiderski has a different job than I do, but at the end of the day, we have a job. We each have a job to do, and to see them, and for them to walk in every single day and see the hundreds of folks behind the scenes that are working tirelessly to make what they see once a week or once every 2 weeks come to life. I think helps them too, right? They can feel, the work that goes into it, and, it makes things a little bit easier in terms of relationship building, to see the guys, to be around them. For our content team, strengthens their relationship with some of those players when you have asks to make versus having to travel from, Bank of America or to the training grounds to offices. It all helps in a big way. And I can only imagine the help that it has for recruiting, and to show again what a big club we are. This matters. We've got a world-class training facility. All of that is going to go a really long way in where this club ends up going. So it's awesome. It really is, getting to walk in there, and it's such a cool area because it's kind of private. Like, you feel like right, you're at a park, kind of pull in, and it's just it looks great. So it's been awesome. Definitely a highlight for me of the year.
So how far away are you from Sir Menti's desk? Are you
Honestly,
across from it, or
so
no way?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Please give him our best.
I will.
Yeah, I really love it. It's not it's a shared space, but not a shared space with the Panther side. It's Charlotte FC, it's the Academy, it's Crown Legacy, all in one building, but it's all soccer specific. The layout's really, really great. The weight room is incredible. It's got that amazing mural on.
Yeah, you saw the attention to detail, just looking at, again, going back to just the technology, the resources that were put in. It is a world-class facility. The weight room, the mural, to give it that Charlotte culture. It's incredible. And the guys can truly walk into a space and they know it's Charlotte FC. They feel good about it. It's theirs. I think this is going to have an impact that lasts for quite a long time. So
What is the space that like MLS 1.0 teams, like some of them didn't get that type of facility until like the past 3 to 5 years. Like that we're in year 2 and have a facility like that for our entire operations is something I think a lot of people might take for granted. Like it's pretty incredible, the space that we've got.
Yeah,
it is. I was in Houston for 4 years, and on my job interview there, we're getting new offices. We will have new offices. And 4 years later, we did not have new offices. So it is. It's also, it's not easy, right? There is a lot of work, and it's hard. It's not a snap of a finger and here you go. You've got the land that you want, the space that makes sense, the resources and the buildings and the fields that we've got. So it's quite an accomplishment in year 2, and the fields, we're going to have more fields coming in that space that we're going to be able to do a lot more with our supporters. Already we were able to host our supporters belt out there, and we'll be able to do more community functions. And personally, I'm going to be excited to be able to get out there for some staff pickup a little bit more frequently. So
yeah. I know we only have a limited amount of time with you because we do have another special guest coming on in just a little bit. But before you head out, I definitely want you to touch on this week. It's Fan Appreciation Week. What can we expect? What's happening? Maybe Wednesday for people that don't know. Can you take us through the week? I've already seen some content come out, but what is Fan Appreciation Week?
Yeah, Fan Appreciation Week for us. It's really important, right? Most clubs and teams around the world celebrate a fan appreciation night. Typically, it's dubbed the last game of the season. For us in that regard, no different. We want to go out with a bang. We want to make sure our fans that have been with us through ups and downs during the entirety of the season feel the love. But for us, going back to our inaugural season, we wanted to make a week out of it and do it a little bit bigger and make sure that our fans truly understand how important they are. They are everything. They are this club. And so for us, we're celebrating all week long. And the big kind of event for it all is going to be on Wednesday. Wanted to host a party, know how big this game is and how much it matters against Inter Miami. Odd scheduling quirk with a reschedule that sees us play a home and away. And honestly, it's perfectly MLS. I love
That's
it.
true.
It's such a unique, fun way to end a season. And so we wanted to do it with our family. We wanted to bring everybody together and host a watch party at BOA and have the opportunity for fans to come down onto the pitch. And we will have people down on the field, and you can bring blankets. We'll have seating available as well, around the bowl, and we'll have the game up on the big screen, and we'll have some fun with it. There'll be some entertainment, and we just should be an awesome atmosphere to watch that game. And then all week long, especially across my social channels through Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Going to be doing giveaways every single day for fans, and obviously we'll have a lot going on match day on Saturday. But we'll have pop-ups throughout the week. If you check out our website, charlottefootballclub.com, we've got different pop-ups. We have discounts, offers. We're doing free coffee, free beers. We're going to be on, out and about on South End on a pedal pub buying drinks for people. So, we've got a lot going on this way. Just our way of trying to say thank you to all of you who have been there since the beginning. So, and hopefully we can keep this thing going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because if we win out, we have more games to play, and that's gonna be interesting.
What an event that'll be, huh?
Yeah, I got to get with Chico to figure out how I'm gonna get up to Cincinnati. So,
come to Columbia first, Swift, and pick me up, and then we'll go up there to Cincinnati. It'll be great.
Sure.
Yeah, just go backwards and then go upwards. It's fine.
Yeah, we could do that. We do have a couple minutes. I don't know if we have any more questions. I don't see any. So David, you have to let me know. But
yeah, we've got one here from some Westwood T game. Just again, not really a question, but more a comment here. So I don't know if you know this, Shawn, or not, but last year Matt Chantry did a fundraiser for Light the Night, where you could donate money to a water balloon to be able to toss it and hit him in the face if you wish. So he says he wants to know, can he expect a water balloon in the face from you on Saturday and a donation for Light Tonight? But then you follow that up with, he's not as scared of your arm as he is the Jess Charmans. So
I mean, fair statement. Yeah, absolutely. Of course. 100%. Anytime I have the opportunity to throw a water balloon at Chantry's face, I will take it. So, and for it to go to a great cause, you guys do such an awesome job in that respect. Obviously, you like to have a lot of fun, and the tailgates are always a great time. But it's been really cool to see you guys come together to be able to do stuff like this and raise money for charitable causes. And I know we had the opportunity to partner with you guys and crown legacy and do some stuff on that front too. So thank you guys, because you make it easy, in terms of just working together and being really proud of you guys as supporters. So kudos.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I motion for water balloon goalie wars.
Oh, that'll be fun. There you go.
Well, Chantry and I have got, we'll have to put aside our friendship yet again for a big Italy versus England match in Euro qualifications. So we'll see how that goes.
So I've got one fun question for you, Shawn, and you can't say Charlotte FC for this answer. So just FYI. So what is your favorite soccer kit that you own? So out of all the kits you have, what is the one that is the most favorite, cherishable, whatever it is for you?
Man, that's a really, really good question. That's an awesome question. I have so many that come to mind. So I will say my favorite kit that I have, and it is also my grail that I'm currently chasing, because I own it, but it's the first kit that I ever owned. So it doesn't quite fit me anymore. I can squeeze into it. But it's the 1994 Italian national team kit. Roberto Baggio, who was my childhood, my first sports idol was Roby Baggio, and it's the 1994 home kit. It's currently my grail that I am chasing right now for a legit, authentic, in my size. But that's probably the one that just, it means the most to me. I've been able to hold on to it for this many years. It's a kit that I'll pass down to my son. And then I'll say a second one that I've got is an autographed Lazio kit that was gifted to me by Francesco Acerbi, who at the time was the starting center back for Lazio. He's the starting center back for Inter Milan right now, plays for the Italian national team, but my son was actually named after him. So Acerbi's nickname is Leone, which means the lion. And through my podcast, I was like, if Acerbi sends me a kid, I'll name my son Leone. And my wife was already gave the check mark, yeah, it's a nice name. I'd be okay with it. And Acerbi, I get a DM from him on Instagram. I get a follow and a DM from
Oh,
him
man.
on Instagram, and he asked me, "What's your address? You picked a great name," and he sent me the
Oh, that's
kit, made it out to my
incredible.
son, sent it out, and so we developed a friendship, and so that one also means a lot to me, and one that I'll give to my son.
Oh, that's really, really cool.
That's
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, that's awesome. That's an awesome story.
I have a whole new
It's a
respect.
great,
for
beautiful
Shawn.
game, right? Just being able to connect with people, and
That's right.
there's some pretty special athletes out there that know how to make connections with fans, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Cool. Well, Shawn, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we'll have you back on again in the
So
future.
let's do it for the playoff special, right?
Yeah. There we go. We'll do that. But yeah, thank you so much, Shawn. Appreciate all the work that you've been doing. I know it's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that people don't see. Lots of mornings, early mornings, late nights. So thank you for everything. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Man.
you got it, guys. Appreciate it. Good luck, and congratulations on episode 100.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. See you, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
I want to kick that question to Russell and Vaughn. Vaughn, we'll start with you. Do you have a favorite kit that you have?
I actually do. Yeah, I've worn it only a couple times, but I have a 1997 Kansas City Wizards Preki jersey.
Oh my God!
Is
it black or white?
It's
The
black
middle.
with the rainbow.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
And Preki was my idol. So that one was one that I hunted for a long time on eBay, and finally pulled the trigger, and thankfully I fit in it.
Nice.
But it has like super like 1990s mesh. Like if you don't wear an undershirt, like it's the most breathable thing, if you know what I mean.
Nipples
So-
out. Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
It's the way it should be.
It's like those like 90s practice NFL jerseys, right? Where it's like the Reebok and you can it's like the cut off at your abs, what you're saying, Vaughn? I'm just joking.
It's very Preki perky. So.
Nice.
That's amazing. Russell, what about you? Do you
Don't hand it off to me after Preki Perky. I can't immediately follow up with that.
What you got?
Favorite jersey. Talisman had done they've created a new version of the denim kit, the USMNT denim kit from way back when, that I love and wear all the time. I've gone from ironically loving it to actually loving it now.
Yeah.
As for answer I can't remember the year off the top of my head, but mid 2000s Paolo Maldini AC Milan jersey,
Ooh.
the red and black.
Yeah.
Obviously, that would be my actual answer to that question.
Nice. That's a good one. It's very
Love
good.
that one for very obvious reasons.
Yeah.
What is Matt Swift's favorite novelty jersey?
Novelty jersey.
Like Charlotte FC novelty jersey.
Yeah.
What's my favorite?
Like the warm up
Charlotte-
jersey.
The
Not the
yeah.
officials.
Not the home and away, but like the special warm ups.
I like the latest Pride one. I like that one a lot. I like the white, the black, and the color pop on it. So I think maybe that one. There's a lot of good ones, but yeah, I like that one. Enough about that, because, ladies and gentlemen, we have another special guest.
You say?
Another. Let me introduce Will Palaszczuk, aka Willie P. Welcome to the show, good sir.
Thank you, guys, and congratulations on turning 100. I don't know if you can get enough candles on the cake, but hope everything's good with you guys.
Yeah, thanks, man, and thanks for joining us. It's about time that
Sure.
we had you on the show, sir.
You know, I was hoping it wasn't anything personal. I mean, that's really I felt like maybe you guys could, you could flourish and be who you guys are, and the voice of the fan is very much an important thing. You guys don't need me bringing you all down, that's for sure.
No. You're at the top of the list, but then we had Vaughn and Russell, so
Sure.
you kind of got knocked down a little bit, but that's okay. But now you're
All
on,
good, man. All good.
and we appreciate it. We're celebrating, of course, doing 100 shows, but also too celebrating Charlotte FC. Going to have some fun, and that's why we wanted to have you on. You get to watch this team week in and week out. You get to do the commentary with your good friend and partner Jess Charman. I've got to ask, what's it been like doing play-by-play? Has it been amazing? I know you have some epic goal calls, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But what's it been like for you?
I did a spot with the folks at Axios, Andy Weber, who did a fantastic job with a photo essay. And one of the things I told him was that, this is basically the pinnacle for me. And I've done a lot of great things in my career. Being in attachment to this team the way that we've been over the course of these first 2 seasons is unlike anything I've had happen to me in my career, and it's a genuine joy. It's a pleasure. I will say it's at the same time the easiest and hardest thing to do, all in the same, because while it's easy to have passion, it's easy to watch soccer, it's easy to have all those things. It creates a lot of work. Look to this week with 2 big games, and we honestly don't know what the lineup's going to look like for Inter Miami. So that's going to create a hurdle to have to try and overcome in itself, independent of anything that Charlotte FC will have to do on the pitch in order to try and win that contest. For us, in a preparation standpoint, it's a little bit different. I will say that, calling soccer is also something that I was very much new to. Having done it in the past intermittently, but never full time for a team, was a different thing for me to have to get used to and learn. I lean on Jess a lot for just her expertise and some of the things that we had. And I think our infancy, you go back and listen to those first couple of games, and I think we were not as much learning about the team, but learning about each other, learning about, different speech patterns and how to go about where to let each other in, how to lead each other on. And I think we learned some things about each other and even about the game itself from both of us watching it. And I really think that you can hear our progression as we've gone throughout the 2 years together. And as much as you've heard the progression of the team, but to make a short summation of all of what I just said, it's been incredible. And I still wake up every morning thanking my lucky stars, thanking the Lord that it's something that is not a dream. It's become a reality, and I'm very happy that there are so many people who have come out and expressed their support, because I think it wouldn't be possible without obviously making sure that people thought we were good, which I think is the most gratifying thing of all.
Yeah, Gustler, could you possibly imagine if we were forced to do
No.
play-by-play and color commentary?
I'm just sitting here in awe, like listening to Will just talk right now. I'm like, oh my God, it's so buttery smooth, and his mic is amazing. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh my God, I can't even get a sentence together half the time on the show. And it was just amazing there. But yeah, if we had to do play-by-play, I would lean on you to do play-by-play, and I would do the color commentary, because there's no way I could do that.
There will be a time, and I have these recorded, and I promised this to Jess. I said, there's going to be a time where years from now, we'll go back and, with obviously more of a party atmosphere involved, but we will go back and listen to some of those first tapes that nobody has heard but us and our bosses, of the 2 of us demoing together, and we will go back and we'll laugh at it. And but thankfully it's something now that we look back on and we think back very fondly about it right now. But we'll probably get to a point where we're comfortable enough to look back at it and laugh at it, because I know that for the 2 of us, we both were sitting there like, okay, how in the world is this going to work?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you about, you mentioned the demo part. I don't guess a lot of people really, well, I know I didn't get that. So you guys come together and we're like, hey, I guess we're going to be a partner, or they partner you guys together, and then you literally do it's like a script reading, like you're auditioning for a movie. How does that work?
Well, basically, we obviously were kind of put together by the higher ups, the powers that be. I obviously don't make those decisions, obviously. So it's kind of one of those things where, they put us together and they say, hey, take a game from the previous year and just do it off a monitor. And we did, I think, 2 or 3 games. I think one of them was the MLS Cup. between Portland and NYC the previous year. I think we did a couple of other games. I think one Atlanta, Philadelphia game, and I think one other one with two other teams. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was basically, you know, we prepare for each one, and I think we did 3 different halves, and I think as we went through all of them, it got better, which was great, and I think that's the part of it that I think is very very telling of the two of us, is that, you know, we both have had different experiences in broadcasting with different partners. She obviously had a lot more soccer experience than I had, and I know how to follow a color analyst. So from that aspect, I think as we kept doing it, it started getting a lot more comfortable. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that before the first game on the 26th of February, I wasn't, scared out of my mind to do it because, who knew what the heck we were going to have going into it. And lo and behold, the first goal we ever get is offside. So that's the part that, it felt like a bit of a kick in the nards, so to speak. But
Yeah.
as a result, you learn from it, you go through it, and as a result, we had so many great moments together. I think back to the first ever goal that counted, the Adam Armour goal, and I've said this publicly and on a couple of different occasions, is that that goal, the fact that we were the only call that got it right, the fact that we saw that it was Armour who got the goal, I think is an incredibly gratifying thing, and
Mm-hmm.
that's something that's one of those moments where it's like I'll always remember that. I have no idea how in the world I saw that it was Adam, but it just, I think in the moment adrenaline takes over, and you try to trust your gut and see what it is, and it's quite a thing when you get a call like that so right. I don't really know how to describe it. I'm sure it's very much like what the players feel like when when Ashley Westwood hits one like that and it goes in and hits the top part of the net. It probably has a similar type of feeling like that.
Yeah, I feel like you guys have built a good chemistry, and that does take time, and the longer you work with someone, the better it gets. I'm very interested in what kind of conversations you guys have to build that, and what is your day like leading up? Like, do you guys sit down like, all right, we need to talk about this during the game, we're going to focus on that? How does that all work?
So, like, once we found out that it was us, I mean, we found out that it was us before I think a lot of the people outside of the world knew. I think the announcement came sometime a couple of weeks before the season, but like we kind of knew, and we knew right away we were going to have to build a rapport. So we'd like literally we're talking every day. I was going to training. I was, trying to get as much of the information about some of these guys that we could. Both ended up getting a chance to see the games down in Charleston, so that was a very big help as well. That's something that I feel like if we didn't have that, we would be flying completely blind. So from that aspect, it was very helpful, and thankful that the team had chosen a venue that was pretty close and pretty accessible for both of us to at least go and see those contests and have the ability to at least feel like we got at least some sort of look at the preseason. And then, as we went through that first season, it's just a lot of, going back and forth, our different observations. I think having the podcast helps for both of us, Crown Corner, which not only do we have an opportunity to talk to players and coaches and executives, but, we have an opportunity to talk to each other. And I kind of get a good idea in the prep for and the actual doing of that podcast where her mind sits on a particular game and a particular game day. I think we talk a lot on match day -2, match day -1, kind of, what we think the lineup's going to be, what adjustments need to be made. I think we both do a lot of watching also is the other part of it. Like I know I always hook up with her whenever I've watched the opposition. Actually, one of the things I have on my to-do list tonight before I go to bed is watch the last 2 Inter Miami contests and try and formulate what that's going to look like. Although, again, given the current lineup, I don't even know if that's going to even be worth the darn, because the fact that
true.
you might have 2 dudes who maybe didn't even crack the lineup in the 20, featuring the starting lineup based on projections that you're looking at from Miami. So I think a lot of times it's a constant dialogue. I think we both have our different ways of going about our own prep. But as much as we try to intersect as possible, we take stuff from each other. I would probably argue that I probably take more from her than she does from me, but that's just because, again, she's got the playing career behind her, and I definitely defer to her expertise on that. But there have been a couple of times, and she's been very, very good about and gracious about saying so, where she said, Will said something that I didn't really think about, and good on him for doing that. And so those are the moments that get me kind of giddy that I'm at least, somewhat on the right track.
Yeah, and you are a busy man in general, because not only are you covering Charlotte FC, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate to cover some of the other teams in Charlotte. But I've switched jobs, and I think I told you this, Willie, that now I have like a 45-minute commute. So sometimes I get to listen to you in the mornings on the radio. Sometimes it's talking about the Panthers, but that's okay. How do you fit this all into your schedule?
Well, I think the folks at WFNZ have been very understanding about, because I did probably a lot more of the wide-ranging stuff before Charlotte FC started. Like, I was going to every Panther practice, I was going to every Hornet practice, and having my day basically consumed by, either walking over to Bank of America Stadium or the practice bubble, or walking up to Spectrum Center when I lived in Uptown. And when the FC thing kicked in, they said, we know that if you tried to do all those things and FC, you wouldn't have a life, and we know you're getting married, and so it's like, okay, right. We'll scale back on a lot of those things for you, and because obviously FC is going to take up a lot more of your time, and still I end up doing a lot of stuff with the Panthers with our Sunday show that we do after games, and still doing the Hornets post game this upcoming year, and so thankful that doesn't overlap as much as the football season does with soccer, but there are going to be some days where, especially early on in the soccer season, where, if the Hornets are playing on the same night, obviously my priority is with FC. So they've got plenty of people there that can fill in for me on that basis. But I'll say this, it takes a very understanding life partner and wife of mine, one who also loves sports as much as I do. So that part is incredibly encouraging. And the other part of it is that, I've learned and known what the other side of that is. Like, I told this story a couple of different times. I actually got laid off twice in a span of 5 months in this business, which very much lets you know how much you appreciate what you have when you have it. So, having gone through that and a couple of other situations where I've, had gigs, I got to cover the Super Bowl when the Falcons blew it against the Patriots, and then 2 days later I had to walk into my boss's office and him tell me that, oh yeah, we're cutting you because of budget, and it has nothing to do with you, and it's not your fault, but yeah, we can't hire you anymore after you just moved to this place to come work 3 years ago and given up everything that you had in your own other job. So from that aspect, asking me to work a lot, nothing to me. I absolutely love what I do. So from that aspect, it definitely beats the alternative. I don't mean to get morbid on y'all, but that's the matter of perspective that I have it in. I said, you know what? If it's ever too much, I'm sure I'll know about it and I'm sure I'll feel it. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like too much when you've been without in different situations that I've had.
Let me ask you this, because I listen to the radio station quite a lot and have in the past, and more as the team has kicked off, there's more and more coverage. Before, very little. I listened to Mac and Bone in the morning. Even they've really gotten into it as well too. They've come to tailgates, and of course they'll have Jess on, they'll have you on to kind of talk about it. Have you seen a shift at the radio, or just kind of in general in Charlotte, of more people talking about it, more people kind of perking up? Maybe it's because the other teams are struggling. Like, what's it been like for you?
Well, I like it, and I'll even go back to my first experience with it when I was in Atlanta, because I think a lot of listenership, I would say, probably has a harder time with it than the talent does. I think that we think of sports talk radio as being football, 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 football with a sprinkle of basketball when the tournament starts, and obviously when the Hornets are good, they'll talk about them. But football stirs the drink, and it's always going to stir the drink. That's the way that this business works. But when I first got to Atlanta, as somebody who had been obviously a soccer fan my whole life, one of the first things my boss there said to me, he said, "Look, we have this Atlanta United. They just won a championship, and we really try to get Atlanta United talk on our long form segments, like on the radio station, because we're a broadcast partner." And he said that a lot of their full-time guys talk about it, but not a lot of I was at the time, I was a part-time fill-in guy, weekends, and just kind of anywhere where you could possibly, fit any extra programming. But, he said you could really differentiate yourself if you learned how to talk about Atlanta United on the radio. And I'm like, that's simple for me. I know soccer back and forth. It's not a new thing for me, but for a lot of people in our business, it is new. And I come at the soccer thing, for me, is soccer was the leisure part of my job. Like, I had the sports that I had to follow for work. And then, like, when I wanted to, kick back and relax, I'd throw on the Premier League, or I'd throw on Serie A, or I had the World Cup every 4 years. Some of my best moments in getting to know new cities are going out and being with, like, the American Outlaws in Houston when I lived there, or doing the same thing in Atlanta. I think we were at a watch party for the Women's World Cup 4 years ago. So there's so many different things that I've come to be cultivated on from the soccer aspect, that I think when I see people who are being closed-minded about it, it's like, you really don't understand the kind of foothold that this game has taken on in our country. And I know that there are still some people who try to badmouth it and say that, hey, this is not this, and there's not that much people. The thing I keep coming back to and saying is, putting 30,000 in Bank of America Stadium on a week in, week out basis is not an easy thing to do. And there's people aren't there. They're not lying. This is not a novelty. There is a great underbelly of people who this is their only thing they care about in Charlotte sports. This is not just overflow Panther fans or overflow Hornet fans, or people who, are just doing this for, it's the cool, fun new thing in town. And I know that there are a lot of different conversations that are nuanced involving that, and I don't want to get into that part of it. But the fact is, anytime I wear my Charlotte FC stuff around, I get comments from people being like, "Oh my goodness, like, it's so great that we have a soccer team in our city now." And that's the part that I feel like those who don't embrace that, they're missing out, because it's not a hard sport to learn, despite the offside rule being as nuanced and people trying to overcomplicate it, et cetera, and so on.
Sometimes what is a handball, but yeah,
that is obviously a nuanced part of the rules. But what I will say is the rules are simple. It's ball in net. It takes 2 hours, and there's constant action. And the great part about it is that I've come to see too every time we are in the building is that it's such a diverse group of people, not just culturally, but it's families, it's people of all different backgrounds. And I feel like it's also the one thing that we have in this city that wasn't somewhere else from a large-esque aspect, in that, you're not having to convince people who are Washington football fans to root for the Panthers, or you're not having to convince people who are Miami Heat fans or Steph Curry fans to root for the Hornets. MLS did not necessarily have a strong foothold in this city before Charlotte FC. And now that the MLS has come to this city, it's something that we can grow from the ground floor. And I think you're seeing a lot of people who embrace it. And I think if you don't embrace it, if you're somebody who's covering sports in this city, I think you're severely missing out.
Yeah. We've been talking about favorite moments specifically this season. Is there any one moment, maybe a couple of moments that had stood out to you that have been like your favorite?
I'll go back to the Leagues Cup. The 2 shootout victories, and Christian Kalina making all those saves. Anytime I think about how much adversity this team had to overcome, I think back to those two games, and I know that they needed a little help from Houston and Misael, who again committed one of the worst blunders you'd ever seen for an own goal to get Charlotte FC into the last 8. But those two moments against Cruz Azul and FC Dallas, I think were really emblematic of just Charlotte FC's ability to take the urgency of a cup tournament and turn it into a flourishing type situation. I mean, getting that late goal to equalize against Dallas was incredible. Kalina making all the saves against Cruz Azul was extraordinary. And I think when you think about the run they're making now, I keep thinking back to those games and thinking, okay, can Charlotte FC harness the urgency that's put in front of them? And I think that's something you look back on. If Charlotte FC does end up getting themselves through and playing a week from Wednesday, I think back to the Leagues Cup. We talked about how much that could potentially turn around their season, and I think it truly did. Even though they didn't win everything, they didn't get themselves one of those 4 CONCACAF Champions Cup spots. I think it definitely gave them a belief point. I think it gave them a lot of trust in their manager. And I also think, too, they found a way to play that harnesses the kind of urgency that you need when you're fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah, I totally agree. One of the things that happened to you this season that I want to touch on real quick, you had a call that went viral. And one of I think the great things for me was you had a couple of people want to give you crap for it, right? But you had so many people come to your aid, defend you, and say how great you are. And that to me was like one of the best things to see, because so many people like, don't you be talking shit about Willie P. Willie P's our guy. What was that like for you? And I think we talked that morning about it because I was definitely one of those people like, y'all need to shut the hell up. Willie P's a national treasure. But like, what was that? What was that like for you? And did that make you feel good that people like, I don't know, Mac and Bone were, stood up for you too? Like it was really cool to see.
It was dynamic to say the least. It was very much up and down. I remember in the infancy of the moment, I'm looking at it after the game. We had just drawn with FC Cincinnati, so there's obviously the initial disappointment on that after having relinquished a 2-0 lead in that contest. But then I notice on the Charlotte FC social media channel, I have no idea why they did it this way. But for whatever reason, they used our call right away in the infancy of the goal being scored by Carroll, the second one. And we initially are like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm wondering why they did that, because they've always had access to that call because especially at home when they have that linked up with Apple TV. So I'm thinking they must have just decided to use that on their social. And that obviously got us a little bit more traction. But then I started seeing some of the stuff they were saying, and even Jess is looking at this and being like, Will, a lot of this stuff's not very good. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, whatever, it's fine. And then I started looking at more of it, and it's like a lot of it's like really like, I don't want to say offensive, but like a lot of stuff, saying a lot of things that I wouldn't want being said about me. And, even she's at me and be like, man, this is, this could get kind of hairy. And so, I showed it to my wife. We're looking at it, and I went to bed. I didn't feel all that good at that night. And then I wake up the morning after, and it's just exploded. Like that's the part of it that like I think I thought something of it the night before, and then I woke up and it exploded, and then I saw the positive comments, and I was tickled to death by that part. The fact that there were a lot of people who came out and said very nice things. Pablo Mauro from The Athletic sent me a direct message and was like, hey, I want to talk to you about it. And I was a little reticent about it because I didn't know, what it was going to sound like, but he then assured me it was all, it was all very positive. He says he's actually a big champion of ours and of local voices and wanting to make sure that the I don't want to say homerism, but the impassioned ability of the home announcer to convey that type of feeling for a home audience is something that's preserved with this new deal. And I think it's been a great tool for us. I think a lot more people have been able to consume our broadcasts through that feature on Apple. I know people are going to ask about whether or not it's going to be on road broadcasts. I don't know that for sure for next year, but I know it's something that they're, I think, trying to work on. But at the same time, I think it was really cool. And it was cool for me just to basically be like, look, I feel like I've actually lost my stuff on calls even more beyond that. Like, I thought that was just a snippet of just something normal. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't put anything extra on that call on purpose or anything. I was just so amazed by the fact that it was just a casual flick by Swiderski and it goes in, and my genuine emotion was the first one was great. That one was more impressive than the first. And it ended up taking a worldwide by storm. And I got so much. The great part about it too was that I had broadcasters from all over the world DMing me. I actually got a message from somebody who was, I think, in the either 5th or 6th tier of English football. This guy Anthony Taylor, who does games for Scarborough FC in the northeast part of England. And he's like, man, I want to do what you do and this and that. And I'm just starting out. And he does it for a very small radio station in Northeast England. And, I said, oh, don't worry about it, man. And so I sent him a Charlotte FC scarf, and,
cool.
and he's sending me a Scarborough scarf, and just making those kinds of connections like that, I think is really, really cool. The broadcasting, fraternity / sorority, because I will include the many great female broadcasters we have, including the one that I'm so fortunate to work with. But our trade is a very small one. The world is a very, very small world, the broadcasting world. And as a result, I think when any one of us kind of gets thrown under attack, I think you get other people who stand up for you, and just to have that kind of feeling, not just through broadcasters throughout MLS, who I heard from at least half a dozen, if not more than close to a dozen of ones that were currently in the league, reach out to me after that. I definitely heard from people all across the world, and having that made me feel part of something even bigger, which is probably the more humbling part of that whole thing than just the call itself.
Yeah, I thought it was great, and one of the reasons why I like you is that when you do the call, you can really hear the passion and the emotion come through, and it's genuine, and we're all feeling it. And thank God people don't record us when we're yelling and screaming, so. But I really, when I saw that happening, and then I saw everybody, coming to your defense, that really made me happy, because I think it just shows how much you mean to the community, and how much people really like you. I know in like Mid City wise in our Slack that we talked about earlier, and the many channels that we have, but there's a lot of people in there that when a game comes on, they put you guys on instead. So
that's great.
That's awesome. That's a big kudos to you and Jess. Like,
I will say, if you use the WFNZ app on a road game, it doesn't sync it 100%. It comes very, very close. And I've heard more than one person tell me that. I've heard my wife tell me that. I've heard a couple other people tell me that, and my folks have started using it now, because my folks just moved down here, so they now have they've got a little surround sound set up in their new house, and they put the WFNZ app on their surround sound, and they put Apple on the TV, and then they say it syncs up pretty close. So that part is fun to hear. And again, hopefully next year they give us the road game option, so you'll have the ability to listen to us whether we're home or away on Apple.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I remember the Atlanta game this year.
That was so much fun. That was really cool. And look, I think we all kind of come at this from a different aspect. We're all big boys to be able to sit there and say we had soccer lives previous to Charlotte FC, because Charlotte FC was minted in 2022, and we had Soccer Fandom before that. I wouldn't sit here and say that I was an avid, ardent Atlanta United fan, but like, I have some great memories watching soccer in that stadium before Charlotte FC, and being able to go back there and get one from them was a great moment. I think even greater for Jess because she had obviously, more of an identification to that for that end.
Yeah.
But to be able to go back and see that was a real cool thing. And just to have that, the ability to be on the bus with y'all again. Thank you so much for having that.
Yeah,
that was
we
real
had
cool
to had
thing.
to hold the bus for you. No, I'm just kidding. No, I made sure that we didn't leave you because like a lot of people don't get is that you, especially when you're traveling, you have to go do the show, play by play, and then after the game's done, you do the post game,
Right.
and then
Post
you had to
game's about a
hustle back to.
Post game is about a half hour. There's a lot of ads that we have to get in that we don't normally have the ability to fit in during a 90-minute. So we do the game commercial free. So it
right.
basically is thanking the very gracious advertisers who gave up the time during those 45 minutes of play to make sure that we have the ability to put the broadcast on. So
That's right.
that is the function of the post game show.
Yeah, and then you had to rush back to the bus to make sure you could get back to Charlotte.
That was a long walk, by the way. That was not a fun walk up.
It is long.
Whatever road that is up on the west side of Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah. David, do we have any questions? Anything?
Yeah. So I just want to make a comment for you, Will. Just something, and then I'll pull off some of these questions from the chat a little bit. But for me, it's got to be really special to be the first announcer and play-by-play for Charlotte FC. And I don't know if you're going to realize this, but for me, growing up, I was a Panthers fan first, right? And you would listen to the radio, and I always associated the voice of the Panthers at the time as Bill Rosinski, right? That was the person I listened to. That was the first one. That is all I associate. But you and Jess are going to be the ones that people associate for Charlotte FC for a new generation coming in here because you guys are doing the work here. So kudos to y'all. It's got to be a great feeling because it's
David.
Yeah, it's an awesome feeling to be a part of that, right? So
I can tell you right now. I said this to somebody else. I was like, I could do this as long as they'll have me because this is so cool. I love it. I mean, I've got property now in Charlotte. I don't want to go anywhere else. I'm good doing this until I can't squeal anymore. So, and then maybe if I can't squeal, I could figure out something else between the goal calls. Who knows?
Choose another octave. Yeah,
there you go.
I can go all the way low. How about that? I'll just go score.
There you go. Do that if we make the playoffs. So some of the questions we have here in the chat. So the first one is from Good Golly. So they want to know what's been your favorite game to call. So I know you mentioned the Adam Armour moment was a really big one for you to kind of be a part of. But what's been your favorite game overall to call? And maybe it was Leagues Cup you mentioned too, though, right?
Yeah.
Favorite game to call. I will say the home Atlanta game last year, Jordi Alcivar's Olympico, and that first win in the rivalry game also I think was pretty special. Remember we were on national TV then at the time, so I think that was a significant arrival moment, I think, from Charlotte FC's perspective. And I think one of the things that really was the challenge for Jess and I is that we're talking to an audience that's very mixed. We're talking to people who are soccer aficionados, and then we're also talking to people who are consuming the game not only for the first time at all, for the first time on radio. So I think having to explain that Jordi Alcivar just scored a goal that I think the number, it was a non-zero number, less than 7 of the amount of Olympicos that have happened in the history of Major League Soccer. That doesn't happen often. So that I think just trying to contextualize that was very special, and getting a win in that fashion was very special. I would also give an honorable mention to the Chelsea match, because that was a much different thing than I think either of us had ever prepared for. Jess, obviously being a Brit, had really no attachment necessarily to Chelsea, but just the fact that a Premier League team is playing in the same stadium as we are, and we're getting a chance to call a lot of those names that become synonymous with, just watching and consuming soccer. I mean, like Christian Pulisic is out there. I mean, and there are other names that are part of Didier Drogba. I mean, not Didier Drogba. Name of the goalkeeper, who the name is escaping me. The one that was at Chelsea before last year.
Not
Kepa?
No, not Kepa. The African goalkeeper who was there, who was the starting keeper for Chelsea.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
None of us are Chelsea fans, so we can just let them do their thing.
Really?
Oh,
But
speaking
anyway,
of which, yeah,
a lot of those household names. Even though I'm having a brain lock right now in terms of that. But yeah, just a lot of those different household names that are very much connected parts of the game that really were big parts of that. And I
yeah,
think
like
that was
Jorginho,
Jorginho, very much. So.
who plays at Arsenal, the best team in London. Because one of the I like you a lot, Willie P, but the one thing that I don't like about you is that you're a Spurs fan.
I mean, we all can't be perfect. We all can't be perfect,
That's all right. That's all right. You're close, but
we all can't have a baby-faced assassin as our head coach. It's all good.
Yeah,
Some of us have to settle for the heavy-set Australian who calls everybody mate. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
You guys are doing well this season, though.
Big Ange Ball fan over here. Big Ange Ball fan.
So far, so good for you guys.
So
yeah, you got.
I gotta show you like one or two more here. So this same person said, for your goal celebrations next time, Willie P, just get a vuvuzela and you can use that next time. So I'm sure that will sound wonderful over the radio broadcast.
So that I don't think is going to happen.
I think it's safe to say that's not going to happen. Yeah. So I will say this. I want to do this last one here, Swift, because I think it's a really good question. Because you mentioned earlier, like your journey, Will, just getting laid off, coming back, all that stuff like that. But they want to know if someone was interested in pursuing what you do, what advice would you give them from your perspective?
I would say don't, but I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna no. Honestly, the biggest thing. And I get this question a lot. I do a lot of lectures for journalism students throughout the country, and the biggest thing I will say is number one, don't let anybody tell you can't. First off, because I think there's a lot of rejection that's a big part of this industry, and it's a lot of times hard to take. I know that I was in a couple of different situations where I thought about going and giving up broadcasting, joining the private sector, and I'm thankful that those who were in my corner not only told me not to, but also had enough self-confidence in order to try and make sure that I could make it to a level where, I'm doing games for a team. But for just the most basic aspect of how to get into this business, you have to get reps. And by getting reps, I'm talking about just sitting out there with a tape recorder and just doing a game while you're in the stands. Put yourself on tape, allow yourself to be vulnerable, prep like you would for a game that you were calling on the air for ESPN, and go out and sit in the stands. And I know that when I was trying to put forth a demo tape to try and send in for this gig, I was doing 2-3 games a day, just trying to get every opportunity that I could to try and put myself on tape and improve myself, and watching different things about, okay, what are you supposed to call this part of the field? What are you trying to, convey when you say, oh, the ball is booted down the left side? Make sure you have, the right markings on the field, et cetera, and so on. So it's get reps. It's make as many connections as you possibly can. Reach out to those who are in this industry. I get at least 4 or 5 a week of kids who are in college who reach out to me and say, hey, can you listen to my tape? Can you take a look at this? Or, do you know of any openings and this and that here and there? And there's more opportunity now than there ever has been with how easy it is to, plug a microphone into a computer or a camera and just, do podcasts, do shows that are not radio shows necessarily, but just long form content, and whether it's specialized content or you're just sitting there talking about, your favorite soda you like, there's all kinds of different things that and avenues that are able to get you in this business that are even beyond, what I had. It doesn't have to necessarily be a traditional radio outlet that lets you in the door and puts you on the map. I think that there are a lot of people who look at this and say, okay, it's very, very easy. I think the one thing you find out if you try to do it and put it on tape is very, very difficult. So it's not something you can do, just, pop on the mic one day and, you turn into Marv Albert or you turn into Bill Rosinski, to use your reference there, David Gustler. I'll say this. I'm a much better soccer broadcaster now than I was the first day that I walked in the door at Charlotte FC. And a lot of that is because not only do you get the reps, but you listen to the reps. And that's the part of it that I think is almost as important, is that you have to listen to yourself. You have to air check yourself. You have to think about what you did wrong, look at what you liked, look at and also find people who you trust to air check it as well, and be able to take feedback. Because the other part of this business that we go through a lot is that whenever you get air checked by your boss, is always the tape you do not want to be heard. Like I will get a game that's picked out at random, and I'll know the ones that are good, and I'll know the parts that are bad. And I've gotten to the point now where, like, if you pick out a game, I know exactly where I'm probably going to have something where I trip up and I say something wrong or do something incorrectly or have something that is going to cause my boss to look at me and say, that's interesting. So that part of it is something you have to learn to accept, number one, but number two, not be afraid of. And I hope that's enough parts of that answer that you can kind of at least form a plan of attack. But the most basic part of it is just don't be afraid. Just do it, and do it again and again and again and again till you get yourself comfortable, proficient, and you have a tape, and you're able to at least have something from that perspective.
I definitely have one more question for you. I've always wanted to know this. So
Go ahead.
Has anything ever happened in the booth where you've knocked off your headset, or someone's fallen down, or somebody spilled something? Does that happen? And like, what happens when that?
So the closest thing that happened to that, I can't remember off the top of my head what game it was, but we had gotten a late goal. It wasn't a winner, I don't think, but there was a point where, like, we scored a goal and Jess skinned her knee and drew blood.
Oh, no.
And it wasn't like a lot of blood, but like it was enough to be like, oh, like she cut herself.
Yeah.
So that was probably the most unique thing that we've had. We've had a couple of spills that thankfully nothing happened bad, where nothing took us off the air. I haven't knocked my headset yet, or done anything of that nature. But I think the closest thing we had was to an in-booth injury was was like we have a little ledge that's in front of us, kind of like where the table hits, where it hits like on the hip or whatever. Like we were both standing, and I guess for whatever reason, either jumping or maneuvering in the booth, she like skinned, I think, part of her knee or her shin, and it drew a little blood.
I feel like it would happen all the time. Like you score a goal and you're like grabbing each other or something, like just shake someone's headset off or something.
Do you get hit by the beer showers from below?
No, no. We're up far enough to where we don't get any residual beer shower. That's why the only reason we wouldn't be able to do a game in the supporter section is because that would completely get on all of our equipment, and it would toast us, unfortunately.
I am a huge nerd, and sometimes I will text Willie P, because I'm kind of near him in the booth. I'm like,
sure.
Hey Willie P, look down to the right. I'm right here. I'm like,
I always look forward to the Matt Swift wave text. It's all good. I
appreciate it. Well, Willie P, thank you so much for joining. Like I said, we've wanted to have you on for quite a while, and
sure,
wanted to have kind of like a celebration, and I thought, who better to have on someone that I think has done a really great job. Like I said earlier, like a lot of, at least our members, would rather hear you and Jess call a game than some of the announcers on Apple. So, we just appreciate everything you do. And not only for me personally, not only calling games, just going on the radio and talking about Charlotte FC. Because I want to hear more of that. And, you're kind of I guess the leader in that. And you're always going on in the mornings and just too. So just want to say thank you for everything you've done.
Well, I thank you guys. I know that when the club started, I wanted to have the supporters, different groups be represented on our radio station, and you guys were a great part of getting Mint City on the air and getting some of the other supporter groups on the air, and just kind of building that bridge and letting people know that that you have the ability to be a part of a lot of great friends. Like I said before, a lot of my greatest social interactions and especially in getting to know a city have come through soccer. And I think the Charlotte FC Supporters Council is an incredible vehicle to not only make sure that the fans, not only are the concerns heard, but also that passion stays lit, because you guys are the club. I mean, the club is not the club without its supporters. And I really commend the work that you guys do, and all the other supporters groups, the Southbound and Crowns, the Crown Syndicate, Blue Furia, Hooligans, everybody who's out there is part of the Supporters Council. I think is deserves a very great deal of commendation based on what you guys have done to cultivate the fan experience and make sure that we have not only a team that plays in front of fervent noise, but one that plays in front of a lot of passion. And I owe you guys a lot of praise for that.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it, and like I said, thanks for everything you've done, and we will try to have you back on the show very, very shortly, sir.
Well, hopefully we're talking about a playoff experience here about a week from Wednesday.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you so much, Willie. We're gonna stay on. I got some more questions for Vaughn and Russell here. That's awesome. I love Willie P. And thanks for Shawn for hopping on too. But definitely want to talk to Vaughn and Russell a little more. And David, I don't know if we have any more questions that we can.
Yeah, we got a few more here. So I'll pull them up here real quick, and before we start grilling Vaughn and Russell here. So the first question that we haven't answered here yet is from Eric. So you can ask one non-soccer question to every player and coach, and it has to be the same question to everyone to decide whether to sign or hire them. What is that question, and why that one question that you decided on? That's a very unique question from Eric here. So who wants to take this one first?
Go ahead, Vaughn.
So I do a lot of interviewing at my work, and one of the questions that I like to ask is, who and what are you fighting for? Because I think you get to know a lot about somebody's motivations, their drives, their what makes them tick, right? And so, like, when you're hiring somebody, you want to know, what's going to make you happy, what's going to check all of your boxes, what are your wants and needs and desires. And so, I think for a player, a coach, a staff member, getting to know those things of who and what you're fighting for is really important. So that's why I would ask that.
Man,
I was gonna say I'm gonna steal that question for work there, Vaughn. So thank you, I appreciate it. But you went very serious and good there. I like that. So Russell, you get to follow Vaughn now again.
Why?
So.
Why is this happening every time? Every single time, man. First, I saw this asked, I think it was in Slack earlier, and I was like, I really hope they don't ask this one, because I have no idea how the hell I'm going to answer that. And then I'm like, well, if I'm going to answer, it's going to be something goofy. And then Vaughn has to come in with freaking philosophical life lessons. If I have to ask one question to decide whether to sign or hire them, I have no idea how I'm going to make this work, but I'm going to make this work. I'm going to say, are they a cat or a dog person? Because you can learn about the personalities of someone if they are a cat or a dog person. Cats being much more independent, kind of do their own thing. They'll be nice to you when they want to, like this one behind me in the camera. She'll be nice when she wants to, but most of the time she does her own thing and just, I feed her and that's all she cares about. If you're a dog person, you're very good at, you're very personable, you're very energetic, everyone loves you, and you're very extroverted. You're great working in a group. Wow, I actually kind of made that work almost.
I think that works perfectly
Yeah,
well.
so yeah, cat or dog person. It's almost
There
as
you
good
go.
as what are you fighting for?
I love that. Good answer.
So I want to follow this up with a goofy answer since you guys both did very like serious and
Cat or dog person serious.
yeah,
Like,
you made
yes,
it work.
Go ahead, please.
So my question would be is I'm going to hold up just a piece of paper and it's going to have a question on it and they're going to have to like pronounce it, and it is, how do you say this word? And the word's going to be Ajax. So it has to be, they're going to either say Ajax or Ajax, and that's going to help me to figure out if I'm going to hire them or not. So that way I feel a lot better about myself if they're from the South and they're saying it's Ajax soap, or if it's someone from Europe, they'll probably be like, oh, it's Ajax. So
right, I was gonna ask the question, what's the right answer? Like what's the one that they answer that you sign them?
Whatever I want it to be is what.
It's day to day for David. How am I feeling today?
Correct. Exactly. Yes.
Love it. All right. What else? What else we got?
So we'll do one more here because it's from Mr. Fatbird himself here. So he's got a twofer here. So for one, the first, well, we kind of answered the second part of his question. So we'll just do the first part of his question. So he says, when we win Wednesday night, percentage chance that we see Messi in Charlotte on Saturday, I've got a 0.0%. So I'll have you go first, Swift, and then we'll do Russell, and then we'll do Vaughn, since we always do Russell after Vaughn. So what do you think, Swift?
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, Saturday, there's nothing to play for. He would have to play on turf. You got international break, travel, all that stuff. You want to save him for next season. You don't want anything to happen to him. He's been kind of injured, so I wouldn't play him. I hope he doesn't play. So that's my answer.
All right. So Russell, what do you think, buddy?
I must say, I think we're all going to have very similar answers. I'm not Inter Miami's coach, so I can't say, but there really isn't much reason to risk playing him. As Swift already stated, he's already coming off of a lot of international travel, played Lord knows how many games this year at the age that he's in. If the reports are to be believed, he had, I can't remember who said it, but I read that it was like a small like hamstring strain or tear that he's been playing through. And like at some point, obviously he's going to need to take a break for that. And do you want to have him play in a game that doesn't matter on artificial turf? Like, if you want, there's no logical reason for him to play other than you're really petty and really want to see Charlotte lose, or you really care about all the people who shelled out all the money to come see him play.
Yeah, I will say, I think if it was just if it were just up to him, the player, Messi, I think he's going to want to play every single game.
Yes,
that's just how he is, right? But I think the other factors come
in a vacuum, I would expect Messi to play, but this isn't just in a vacuum. So I would be very surprised if he does.
Vaughn, what you think?
I'm going to stay philosophical. And the question said, what are the chances you will see Messi? 100% chance that you will see Messi. Whether it's in person, don't know. It could be on print, but he will be plastered on something in that stadium. 100%
when you log into
chance.
Apple TV to watch the game, his picture will be the first thing that pops up.
Yes, you will see Messi. Yes,
well played.
All I want is a Taylor Swift type cameo appearance the entire time, of them zooming in on Messi, like in the vault or something like that, and he orders that terrible pizza that he did to have it like there in the vault at the same time while watching the game. That's what I want to see.
I am curious to see, as in all seriousness too, is like, how does this affect the fan base that's going to be there for that match, right? Because all these people we talked about who bought Messi tickets, I remember there was an article in The Athletic about this for Chicago too, which is interesting. Like those people who come up showing up wearing, pink number 10 jerseys, do they become Charlotte fans that night if Messi's not playing? What does that look like? It's gonna be, because I always thought this was gonna be a really interesting environment if it was Charlotte playing Messi, but with him not there, what does that fan base look like? Is it really Inter Miami fans, or is it a bunch of people who are wearing pink jerseys cheering for Charlotte? It'd be kind of interesting to see.
Yeah.
I'd imagine
we'll find out.
Yeah. I'm about to say I'm gonna age myself a little, but I remember being fortunate enough when Michael Jordan had his retirement tour with the Wizards, going to see a game, Hornets versus Wizards in the old Charlotte Coliseum. And it was very much, you could tell there were the people there to cheer for the Hornets, people there to cheer for the Wizards, and the vast majority were just there to see Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. And like once MJ was out, then it was majority cheers for the Hornets, from what I can recall. So I kind of think that would be the same situation here. People are hoping to see Messi, and if they can't see Messi, then they're going to cheer for the home team. And maybe this is just me trying to will this into existence, but fingers crossed.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit on a prior show when we thought he was going to, be in the league, or, when he was coming to the league, and we thought we were going to be playing against him. And, there's a big part of me that wants him to play because I think it would be good for the city. And, I think about the kids that idolize him and want to see him play, and they get the opportunity to do so. And also too, people that are from Argentina that live here now that maybe don't ever get a chance to see him play. I'm sure that's a disappointment. So there's a little part of me that kind of wants that, but I also want Charlotte FC to win, and him not playing against us is definitely a positive for us. But hey, there's always next year. I'm hoping that he'll be playing next year. So I would love to see him play. But yeah, it's unfortunate, and I kind of feel bad for all the people that spent a ton of money for tickets and they're not going to be able to. Yeah. Hopefully he'll be at the game. Maybe they could, they'll cut to him. He's on the sideline or whatever, but I don't know. So it's unfortunate.
One thing that I'm looking forward to and hoping for in the game that I just want to highlight is I don't believe we have scored a goal with the upper deck open.
I think you're right.
We did it with partial opening against like Nashville last year.
Yeah,
right?
Partial, but not fully.
But not full. Yeah.
So like big game, big attendance.
Yeah.
I want to see that stadium.
That stadium will legitimately 100%. Shake.
Yeah. The inaugural game we lost this year. Same. We didn't score.
Also no goals.
1-0 both times. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and those are also the games where I've brought friends who are not soccer fans to them to try to get them involved in it, and we don't score. So, of course, this would be a game that I don't bring them in, and then we score.
So, like that question of like what happens with all of those like Miami fans or people wearing Messi gear, like I think that is what will dictate a lot of that is what happens if we score and that place is rocking the way that we know it can with that many people.
Yeah, maybe we can convert some of those people over. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I think we're right at 2 hours, and
this might
be our longest episode.
It's officially the longest episode of
boom. Mission accomplished.
History. Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, because I think Gustler had Jeff Eklund on, and I think that was the longest episode. The Eric Krakauer interview also was around like an hour and 45 minutes. But hey, episode 100.
Gotta go big.
Yeah, that's right.
So I have to show this one comment because I'm going to be selfish here for a second. So Greg says, now all that's missing is a Spencer James appearance. So I will definitely need to have him on here.
Yeah.
Yes. You absolutely need to get them on here.
And I think Gustler's internet just went out on him.
Perfect timing.
Just as long as it
Yep. Nice. Just leave his face frozen just in the show that way. Just him by there he is. He's back.
I'm back. What a way to end the show for 2 hours is that to be frozen there at the very end. So I have no idea what I said went through or not, but we'll find out later.
No, you did great. This is the best thing you said all night.
Great.
Nice.
Splendid.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining. Corey, thank you for starting the show, producing
Corey's the
all these
MVP.
shows. You are definitely the MVP because let me tell you,
Snaps for Corey.
I'll just speak for myself. I have no idea how any of this works. Corey's just like, just speak it to the microphone and I'll help do everything else. So
we'll figure it out.
yeah, thank you, Corey, for everything. Thank you for inviting us to take this over, and you've been an awesome help. And Russell, Vaughn, thank you for joining us, and David, thank you for being a good co-host. And hopefully, we'll do 100 more because I'm having a lot of fun with it. This is a good out. I'm being played off music. Really being played off the show.
We were
And
doing
there you
so
go.
well.
And there we go. I'm just
You're
being
good.
played off.
I'm just putting the music on. You know how
like
we
a-
normally like kind of ease you out of it, and I was just getting
Yeah.
the
the
music
Oscars.
going.
It's like the Oscars.
He was
Like,
just
all right,
complimenting you there, Corey.
It
Yeah.
came in a little. StreamYard came in a little hot, so I apologize for that. I don't know why it came in so hot. We were just trying to like ease us into it, and it said no, we're gonna go in big.
I don't know
Well,
if we're
that-
ever going to be good at doing podcasts. I don't know
We'll
if
fix
it's
it in
ever gonna
post.
happen.
Don't worry, we'll fix it in post. It's fine.
No, keep it in. Keep it in. Keep it in.
Just cut
All
it,
right.
cut it, cut it, cut it. No, I'm sorry.
All right. Well, and thank you everybody for tuning in. We have such a great following, and I just appreciate everybody. This is just it's fun to do. So, good night, everybody.
We're doing it.